Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of GeoPod. I'm your host Dylan Woods, and on this episode I like to discuss the surge in the demonstrations and protests within Israel regarding the absent deal with Hamas regarding the release of the hostages, over 100 hostages who are still trapped, presumably within Gaza, but also probably in any other region in close proximity to it. So recently, in the recent days, what we've seen is a huge amount of demonstrations, mass protests, consisting of approximately hundreds of thousands of people who have entered the streets, pretty much called out for an immediate deal that they demand the Israeli government makes with Hamas, and also the stepping down of Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister who has guided Israel through its ongoing campaign within Gaza ever since the 7 October terrorist attacks. So first and foremost, what I like to delve into, what I like to explain rather, is why this is a subject that lives so vividly within the hearts of Jews and Israelis. Jews and Israelis see life, perceive life with such sanctity that they do whatever is necessary, that they will go to extreme ends to safeguard even a handful of their own people, regardless of the cost. When we're talking about Israel, and when we're talking about the Jewish people as a whole, we're talking about a people that have been so incredibly traumatized, that have been hunted, massacred, enslaved, pretty much since the dawn of time. So for them, life is sacred, and everything and anything should be done in order to safeguard the life of their own people. This is both a weakness as well as an advantage. It is an advantage in the way that it has allowed them to install a nation within a very short period of time that is economically fruitful, a technological hub across several industries, and a great military power. On the other hand, it's a weakness, and it's a weakness that their enemies, in particular Hamas, is aware of, because it allows them to make decisions based upon that huge emotion, that huge dread, that huge sorrow that they feel, that huge trauma that they carry with them, which might cloud their objective judgment and eventually will either sabotage their integrity, their stability, and their security. So, what then should be done to ensure that these hostages get home safe? Is it even possible at this point to bring all of them home alive? Well, as of right now, the estimation is that approximately 1/3 of the remaining 100 or so hostages are no longer alive. So we're talking about a number of approximately 30 plus hostages whose bodies are currently kept by Hamas. Now this is an estimate. There might be more, there might be less. The problem is that over the course of these ceasefire negotiations, Hamas hasn't backed down an inch from its maximalist demands. It understood, rather it anticipated, the situation, the predicament that we, the Western world, as well as Israel, are confronted with now. It was part of their plan. It was part of their scheme. They believed, no matter the onslaught that the Israelis are going to unleash upon us, no matter the devastation, no matter if they destroy all of our brigades tenfold, by the end of the day, the pressure within their own communities, as well as the international community as a whole, will be so severe that once again, they're forced to make a deal with us which allows us to survive, which allows us to free thousands of terrorists to reinforce our ranks with, so we can commit the similar attacks as the one in 7 October time and time and time again. This is what Hamas has aimed for. That's why I said straight from the beginning, there's a very big likelihood that Hamas will emerge out of this situation the strategic victor, even though 80 to 90% of its brigades have been utterly annihilated. You don't destroy Hamas militarily alone. You destroy it by altering perception. So once again, the international community cries out for a deal to be made sooner rather than later. At this point, it doesn't even matter what the deal entails. We just want a deal. We just want something to be done so that all these hostages will get home and we can all resume our lives in blissful ignorance until the next 7 October happens, which will arguably be even more severe than last time. Because guess what, people? Terrorists learn from their mistakes too and continuously adapt, reinforce themselves and develop themselves. So what then, one might ask, should Israel do? And then honestly, exactly what it is doing now. Try to enforce a deal that gets as many of your hostages home whilst continuing to secure your peace, secure the future prospect of safe borders. So if we are allowing thousands of terrorists, of Hamas affiliates free in return for the hostages, the only thing we create is a foundation from which Hamas can attack Israel again, similarly to what it did in 7 October, and that time maybe take even more hostages. And then what? We're again going to call out for a ceasefire. We're again going to call out for a similar agreement, which Israel has signed countless of times in the past before, I might add. And where did it get it? In exactly the same predicament. That's why I believe that this time the Netanyahu administration will not budge and will set through until every viable, tangible element of Hamas has been neutralized or eliminated. Now, how far can the Netanyahu administration sustain this with mounting pressure inside its own communities as well as growing international pressure? That remains to be seen. What I do believe is that a potential future Trump administration will be more inclined to look favorably upon the Netanyahu administration and its course of action, given that they've always taken a harder stance in the past against radical elements within the Middle East as a whole. So when people ask, what is the best way of getting these hostages home? There is no best way. What Hamas has achieved on October the 7th is a victory that came about with such ramifications that we now find ourselves in such a grey zone where it's hard to differentiate the dark from the light. And that is something that 99% of the population cannot stomach, cannot fathom, cannot comprehend. We're virtuous people. We're supposed to solve these matters in a virtuous, thoughtful, empathetic way. The problem is that our adversaries don't think that way. They don't perceive the world in that manner. Like I said before, the Israelis sanctify life, whereas Hamas has sanctified death. It is willing to sacrifice tens, hundreds of thousands of its own population to get what it wants, to ensure its survival. And it will not be swayed from that cause. So if you wish to eradicate such an evil terrorist organization, well, you're better prepared to make some sacrifices yourself, no matter how severe or how dreadful they may be. This is all I want to share with you today. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you wish to engage with me directly, you are free to send me a message. Please leave a like beneath this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I aim to disseminate more content on a regular basis here quickly. I thank you once again for your attention and have a blessed day.